No, man, they've started, but they haven't started the timer yet. Okay, I'm just gonna start the timer. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Grey Ogre Games Invitationals monthly tournament here at Grey Ogre Games, of course. My name is Mikamo, your host, alongside the Mountie. No, that sounds very bad. The Maple Leaf. How about that?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah.
There was a Marvel character. What, Captain Canada, is it? The Alpha Flight in Alpha Flight. What's his name? Oh
There's
no,
a Marvel character for,
yeah.
Canadian?
So you know Alpha Flight is a Canadian team. Anyway, yeah, this is Felix, former pro player. No, not former. Still pro player.
Formal. Has been.
Yeah, well, yeah, has been. It's because you're not in Canada anymore. Anyway, yeah, dude, there was this. There's a Marvel team, Alpha Flight, and
So I do
team
know, like,
captain.
way back in the days, they tried to copy and so there's a Captain America. There's also a Captain
Canada, something
but,
like Captain
but
Canada.
it never really it never got
Never
popular.
caught on?
Yeah,
Okay.
never caught on.
Anyway, yeah, watching the match here between Jason Leeper and Tian Kwang Kai. This is Team Unified Modern. So, yeah, a lot of people complaining that there's no audio. There's audio now. Team Unified Modern is slightly different. How do I say it? You can't have duplicate cards in other people's decks. So you have a team of 3, and each one of your decks have to have distinct cards from the rest of your teammates besides basic lands. So if you're using what's that land? If you're using fetch land like Polluted Delta. So if one deck uses a Polluted Delta, the other decks can't, and even if you're using just one copy. And this is like slightly different from Team Unified Standard, I think. Team Unified Standard, you can like you split 4 copies between yourselves.
I think it's the same.
Is
rule.
this the same?
Rule.
Okay,
They changed
so
because it was too hard for the judges to deck check.
oh
when
man,
have to
oh yeah,
count it.
that's a
the
good
reason
point.
they
Yeah,
did it, yeah.
that's a good point.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean, like, now Team Unified Modern or Team Unified is just, your decks need to be distinct. And we're watching a match here between Team Far, PHAR, and Team Law Firm 2.0. I'm not quite sure why it's 2.0. I'm guessing
Maybe we
because
have new members.
yeah, Jason. I know, there's James Church Morley on the other table. He's on our side feature match table. He's usually the guy who casts with me Modern on weekday nights, 8 p.m. But yeah, today it's you. Yay!
Yay! It's good to be on. Thank
Yeah.
you for allowing me in.
Yeah. Well, it's our pleasure. Jason here looks like he's playing what, Burn, and then Kwang Kai is playing Sultai Death Shadow, maybe.
It could be Death Shadow. It could be just like
Just
a mid-rangey Sultai deck.
Yeah.
This is actually a very, very good start for the Sultai player, able to turn 1 without paying any pain to play Inquisitions.
all right.
To
Yeah.
pain, and then the next 2 more land drops does not require any damage from his land as well.
Mhm.
And then he also land a very early threat to pressure Jason's life total in a Tomoglyph, which is likely a 4 power right now. Oh, 5 with the Eidolon.
Yeah, Eidolon enchantment. Yeah, wow, that's
So
that's
this is like a
big
very
combo
good
drive
ideal start for
Kwang Kai. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty. Wow, that's a big guy. Jason here, just a whole bunch of burns in hand and not much gas, not much other gas. It's just gonna pass the turn. What, Skullcrack and I believe 2 lava spikes.
I think it's 2 lightning bolt. It's 1 lightning bolt, maybe 1. I can't really decipher the 3rd card, but
Yeah.
but the way that I usually look at burn deck is every single card is
It's 3
roughly
damage,
3 damage.
right?
So he has 3 cards right now, which
That's-
is roughly 9, and Kung Kai's at 14 life. So
That's-
meaning that he has 2 draw phase
To
to
get,
draw
yeah.
to get there. And Kung Kai's representing 7 damage right now, which is also a 3-turn clock.
Mhm.
So this is gonna be very, very close.
Yeah. So let's see how it turns out. Like, man, Unified Modern's interesting. Like when you actually get down to the brass tacks, like, there aren't a lot of decks that you can make out of a shared pool of cards, right? It's just I think it's just tough. Like, you have your burn decks, which has your it's your your either your Boros burn or your Naya burn. A Naya burn like is a bit greedy because you kind of steal cards away from your from the rest of your team. So usually you play like Naya, sorry, Boros burn, just strictly Boros burn. Not as effective, of course, but
I think like some of the pillars of the format that really define your team is typically there's a stomping ground deck. It could be
right.
a lot of different archetypes that use stomping ground, and then there is likely a deck that is more or less colorless.
Right.
So either
Tron,
it is Tron, Affinity,
Mono Blue Tron, yeah.
or Eldrazi,
Right.
maybe even Lantern, depending on what
Wow.
card they took.
Okay.
So because that deck does not take away a lot of the cards from the rest of the pool.
Right.
And
They're very unique decks.
exactly,
right?
yeah. And then the next deck could be a Noble Hierarch deck, or it could be
Abzan combo
or anything like a Fossey's deck, or
Right.
so
Okay.
there's actually a lot of ways to go, which is why I think it's a very good format for unified any unified constructed, because if you compare it to standard, like
Man, the card pool is like
it's so
crazy
small, so you
yeah.
can almost for sure know what the maybe 3 out of the 4 decks that can potentially be played.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. Well, we had, I mean, at some point of time, WotC did have a team unified standard, and that was, you know, they narrowed it down to exactly like 5 decks that the team can play, and that's you know pretty bad.
That's a very strong turn, and Jason needed to top like
Yeah.
4 damage spell, which is only Borrow's Charm, but
And that's not
unfortunately,
enough. Yeah.
he didn't get there. But I mean, but despite how good of a start that our Sultai player had, where he played Inquisition turn 1 without pain, follow up with a Tamagotchi, and then next turn Snapcaster Inquisition, the game is still very close.
He was still down to
Like
did to a
Top deck
Boros burn, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're gonna transition over to the other table. Mr. James Church Morley, the suit, and Orange Chua here. James here is playing the mono green devotion deck. Yeah,
Very
that's
interesting. Very interesting.
the very fun deck. Like it's crazy good. Like you can catch people off guard. The fact that you only practically only use forests and maybe like Copperline Gorge, or you could even if you're playing fetch lands. This is the stomping grounds deck that you're referring to in this team,
exactly,
probably.
Yeah.
Unless of course Jason is playing the stomping grounds. But yeah, and we see Orange here is playing what, Eldrazi and Texas? Mono white Eldrazi Texas?
I believe so. So I presume there was an Ether Vial somewhere, but it got Primal Command. That's why there's no white mana on board, and there's
Right, and
Arbiter.
but it's still Arbiter, yeah.
But I think this matchup actually favors the Green Devotion a lot, just because they mix so much mana, and
and so
they don't-
quickly, right?
and they don't get really taxed by Thalia or the Arbiter.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time, I mean, like, James is going to go off with, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, 9 mana off the Nykthos, yeah. So that's a lot.
That's a
Can
lot of
can he,
mana.
can he
Yeah.
take advantage of that?
So typically their payoff are usually just chaining Primal Command, or
Yeah.
they have either they can play like Genesis Wave.
Oh, yeah, just...
Some version get a little bit more adventurous and play 2 for now. So what they can get is they can get an Emrakul, the Aeon's card, and then also I forgot the name of the god, the red-green god that gave
Xenagos. Yeah.
and then you give it haste and like right away
And just
smack
swing
for
in,
it and
right?
kill. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the combo for this deck as well. I believe James also runs Cradle Heal, just
Hoof, yeah.
the standard Cradle Heal Behemoth and creatures like that. Okay, so Oath of Nissa here, revealing a Wistful Selkie. Time to get lots of mana. Now, so he taps the Nykthos for additional 7, additional 10 mana. Additional 7, because it takes 3 to activate the Nykthos. So 10 mana here. Eternal Witness, Primal Command, presumably. Probably look for a creature, maybe.
Yeah. So this is the turn where James is trying to, if he's not in immediate danger of dying, then he could just keep bouncing a land and locking Orange out of his draw phase. and then searching for Eternal Witness and chain that for a few turns.
Oh yeah. Just to make sure that he can draw draw something out of his deck. And at this point of time, like if he draws with the Eternal Witness on the board, like if he draws an Emrakul, he'll be able to cast it like easily.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's see, what does he choose? What?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll find another Eternal Witness for sure. Good call, man.
Yeah, this is a very, very rough matchup for the tax player, just because their game plan just does not line up well against what the Green Devotion is trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like the Green Devotion deck is there's lots of creatures. Oh, why is it stuck on? There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so cables are free. Yeah, but I mean, like what do you tax? Like your opponent's not finding lands from his deck. Your opponent's finding creatures. Sure, you can pay. You pay the Leonin Arbiter, and you generate so much mana. You just pay for the Leonin Arbiter anyway, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh gosh, how much mana is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that Nykthos now taps for 12 mana. Jeez, that's a lot of mana.
Yeah. Like the fact that Orange didn't play either like a Ghost Quarter or something on his turn to blow up that Nykthos, meaning that for the next few turns, it will basically just watching James kind of like go off on his side.
My one primal command is going to be played 5 times, sir. You are in a lot of trouble. Yeah, Wistful Selkie. Maybe draw a primal command right off the top here. Oh. Yeah.
This is a very tough position, but I mean, if I'm in Orange shoe, I will just keep playing just to see what exactly is the win condition, because it does varies for different type of devotions, so that you have a little bit more knowledge when you try to sideboard into game 2 and 3.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cradle Behemoth here going to man. Yep, there's a school. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures on the battlefield. So every of his creatures gets +8/+8 and trample. Yeah, so James takes this presumably first game away from Orange. And yeah, they are one of 6 games up? Maybe? Who knows? Anyway, we're going to transition back to the feature match table. This is seating B. So for the rest of today, you'll be watching team captains play out against each other, because you usually put the strongest player in team captain spot. This one I want to know.
It's actually like very I actually think depending on the personnel of your team. So if someone that can multitask a lot,
right,
that will be the person I put in the middle. So
okay.
Captain or not, so in Magic, the captain, beyond signing the slip, he doesn't actually have a lot of any other duties.
What? Oh, there's a judge call. Okay. Oh no, is a mark somewhere along the stream? Okay, wait, I'll be right back. Jungle out there.
Alright.
It's a proverbial
I presume it's
jungle
still
out there.
game 2 right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're on game 2.
Mhm.
And if you just joined us, you are watching the Grey Ogre Games Invitational's monthly tournament. Every month, like, people will be able to play to get... So what this Grey Ogre Games Invitationals is that, you know, it's a big grand tournament at the end of the year where the top 16 players who've been playing at events in Grey Ogre Games will be, you know, challenging each other to be crowned the champion. There's a lot of cash prizes to be won. I think this year it's still the same prize pool. It's $5,000 prize pool, but the structure has changed a little bit. We have a team event, which is cool. Speaking of which, like, why aren't you playing?
I knew the event a bit too late, so
Oh, come on,
I couldn't quite find two other person to join. But I would love to play more team events. I think team events are just the best event in Magic in general.
Yeah, no, we had a conversation like earlier about the direction in which you know, WotC should be going, and you made a good point about you know, if they want to break into the esports scene, like, we should make it a team event, or we should have like dedicated team events or team, you know, the pro tours introducing like teams and stuff like that. But you still play as individuals, right?
Yeah. I definitely think, like, in order for Magic to really crack into into this esports scenes, having something like more team correlated events would definitely help.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of like just brainstorming around, or just kind of like chatting about what direction it can go. I mean, it can go a lot of ways. Like, one of the things that we just talked about is maybe having something like a 5-player team, and then the pairings will be 5 versus 5. Yeah. So, for example, you have someone like Channel Fireball versus like Team Pantheon, and and then of the 5 players, maybe you can have some mixed format, like having 3 players play a Team Seal, and then 1 play Modern, 1 play Standard. So you get to showcase a lot of different a different type of formats that you can enjoy in Magic.
Yeah, and the feature match area, the entire feature match area is about the team. Like, you just, you know, you are only showcasing one match. It's Team A versus Team B, and this, you know, people cheer on the teams rather than cheer on like specific. Well, of course, they cheer on specific players. You have your favorite player, right? But you know, you cheer on the teams as well. You want them to do well because, you know, generally they have most of your favorite players, or this is the person, you know, this is the store that you frequent the most, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that would be interesting. And well, you know, on the podcast, like we always talk about, I always talk about like Chris Cox. Like, since he's gotten at the helm of Hasbro and you know, trying to is it Hasbro? WotC? No, Hasbro.
Hasbro, yeah.
Yeah. So you know, he's been trying to focus Magic into an esports type of thing.
Oh, sorry, so it's WotC.
It's WotC, yeah. So yeah, you know, he took over the helm of WotC, and like, he's been doing a fantastic job, with the exception of Iconic Masters. But yeah, you know, but he's been doing a hell of a job, and I think, you know, if this is the direction that they're going, I'm pretty sure we're going to see like more team focused events. And they've already introduced it in the Pro Tour, like just teams, general teams, and we have a team Grey Ogre Games that goes to the Pro Tour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important to be able to sustain the professional players, to be able to treat Magic as a professions.
Oh yeah.
So when you have a team, then you can start talking about contract salaries.
Right. Yes.
Just like the League of Legends players that they're getting paid. I don't know exactly what the salary is, but
the salary is like bonkers.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot imagine. It's like,
because this is essentially the dream that you're selling to aspiring players, that they can able to, you know, become professional,
to elevate themselves to the point where
and
I do this for a living.
Hey. I mean, it's gonna be very neat. Back to the game there. Kankai had a very strong start on turn 2, escalating collective brutality twice. So it's all 3 mode that is being used. It kills the Goblin Guide, it drained for 2 life, and also
got rid of burn spell. Yeah. So that's, you know, that's how much damage is that? That's, you've saved yourself 5 points of damage. You gain 2 life. you taken a 3-point burn out of his hand, which was a Rift Bolt,
and then you
and
kill
you
the
got
Goblin
rid
guy.
of the Goblin guy. So that's 7 points of damage. Wow, like with one card. That's why Collective Brutality is like so good. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's part of the reason that I think it makes Burn. I mean, in conjunction with all the new fast land that's coming, that you have, like that, I think it make Burn a much less desirable deck to play.
Right.
But not that it's not competitive, but these cards just make it so much harder. Whereas
For Burn
Burn
to
to get through, yeah.
And here we see a Liliana, the Veil hitting the battlefield, and man, I have to say, like Jason might be in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, because Jason right now have 3 mana, and I believe he has exactly 3 mana worth of burn spell.
I think
in
that's
his hand.
yeah, Lightning Bolt and
Lightning Helix. Yeah.
So he's got to be top decking like a king, man, for the rest of the game.
Which is not too bad. So because after this, Kunkai was going to be a 6 after 2 burn spell.
Right.
And
you just need 2 turns, right?
Exactly. And the biggest difference between this game and the last game is there's no threat in the board to pressure Jason's life total or ending the game very quickly.
Right.
So he has quite a few turns to top deck into, just any burn spell to seal the last 6-point damage.
Okay. All right. So burns away, and Kwankai's down to 6. Let's see. Jason just gonna, I'm just gonna burn you.
Yeah, exactly. So
Kwakai here needs like Collective Brutality would be awesome, but doesn't see it. He might he doesn't have enough lands for Snapcaster Collective Brutality. That would have been like ideal.
It is interesting that Kunkai discarded Formulator Mage last turn to Liliana.
Yeah,
it's possible that he can like lock Jason of white mana, so they can reduce the amount of outs that Jason have.
Right.
But obviously this game it doesn't really matter what Kunkai do or did or does. It's gonna be like very much favorable for
Jason pulls off the top of the deck. But Kwakai still has out. I mean, like all he has to do is just get a land, and he can Snapcaster Collective Brutality, which will then mean that Jason needs 2 more burn spells instead of just 1. So let's see how this turns out. Like does he have a burn spell? Yep, Boros Charm you. That's it. Okay. So that was quick. So they are 1-1 each. Oh, let me put the score back in. So Jason takes that last game, and let's see what's happening over at the other table of of the Team Law Firm 2.0 versus Team Far.
Is that a Mirren Crusader that I'm seeing right now?
Yeah. Mirren Crusader, pretty good card. Like against a lot of Jund decks, like Mirren Crusader just almost kills your opponent. Still dies to Lightning Bolt, but
there's very limited amount of ways that that they can interact with the Mirren Crusader.
Yep.
If you look at Rick Deuce-Lisk from the Pro Tour, he actually even cut all the path. So for his deck,
whoa.
So beyond just chum blocking with like Lingering Souls, there's actually not many
you
ways.
You can't deal with the Mirror Crusader. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just make it so that's the only creature in the field, then you can kill it with Liliana.
Okay, Liliana, right?
But it's still a tough order to do so. Yeah.
All right, might be hitting in at the Garruk. Oh gosh, did the aircon stop? Yeah, it did. Oh, of all the days not to work, thanks aircon. Okay, so maybe a Flicker Wisp to get back his Mirren Crusader, but that won't help much, if James here just goes off on like a giant Genesis wave.
So there is a Ghost Quarter in the battlefield for Orange, which he can use it to blow up the Nykthos.
Yeah.
Right now, the Nykthos only generating 1 mana. Is the Garruk the Garruk's not the Grey Forest is in play.
No, it's in play. It's in play.
It's in
So
play.
the Garuk is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6.
Uh-huh.
And then with the Arbor Elf, you get another 6. So you get a total 10 out of the Nyctos. So you can generate 11, 12 mana. That's about it. Oh wait, with the Garuk, 12.
That's a lot of.
Oh,
mana.
that's a lot of mana. That
I'm-
really is a lot of
I'm
mana.
actually really surprised that. Oh no, he
Yeah,
conceded.
he just scoops it up. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Orange here didn't like just blow up the land there.
Mhm. Maybe James doesn't really have any action in his hand as well.
Right.
So sometimes what happens with these big mana deck is that they can generate a bunch of mana, but they
But
have
you
nothing
don't
to
have
do with it.
Yeah, you don't have your payoffs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in this case, I think that's exactly what happened there. There's a lot of mana, and unfortunately, there's just nothing for James to utilize that.
Right. Okay. But James is going to be going first the next round, so yeah, who knows? Might be in his favor.
Yeah. Modern is a format that really I think the player who goes first has a distinct advantage compared to any other formats, even more so than you can say like Legacy. Maybe not Vintage so much. I think the person who go first and finish has a huge has a huge
when you drop Chalice on the Void for 0 on turn 1, like your opponent's face is just gonna like change. I had all these Moxes I was gonna play.
Because in Legacy, you have like Force of Will, you have or you have stuff like, or maybe like you have some free spell that you can try to buy back some temples. But in Modern, there isn't that case. So especially with a lot of decks that are trying to kill you in turn 4 or 5. So the person who go first
usually
has a very distinct advantage. Yeah.
All right, we are going to transition back to our main table here. We'll keep you updated about the side table. So Jason, considering I think he's asked advice from Bryce, and Bryce has ended his match with who's his opponent? I don't have no clue who his opponent is. But yeah, Bryce has ended his match, and so he's overlooking on both tables as well.
So Burn deck has also usually their mulliganing decisions. It's, you know, if you have no lands, you obviously mulligan.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's a tough call if you have
got
one
one
lander, depending on how many 1 mana spell you have in your hand. But
It's a tough call. Yeah, it's a tough call if you got 3 lands.
Yeah, I think 3 lands and starting, well, definitely anything more than 3 lands is a tough. It's
It's
likely
a mulligan,
mulligan.
yeah, for sure.
3 lands is a very tough call because you only have potentially 12 damage in your hand. So we didn't fully get to see what the content of Jason's hand, but I would presume it's either a no lander, or obviously that he will need to consult his teammate with a no lander.
Yeah.
But if it was a 1 lander or maybe like a 4 lander, that's why maybe he wasn't sure and he wanted to consult his teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those, like, man, like, you know, you have that 1 land, you have maybe like 2 burn spells at 1 mana, 2 lightning bolts or like lava spike lightning bolt, and then the rest of your hand is like 2 mana. It's like, do I keep, especially if the first land is a fetch land or, you know, a white source. Okay, there we go. So he's going to be
exactly what is his hand as well. If it's a 1 lander and a 6 card.
Ooh, okay. So maybe just going in for the beats. We have a Monastery Spear, possibly. Man, Honkai has Spreading Seas in his deck.
Oh wow,
What?
that's very unique.
Yeah, well, it helps to get rid of the white source, right? We were
It's
talking
true.
about.
It's true. Yeah.
And Jason here, you know, opts to go just for a basic mountain. Goblin Guy hits in, sees a fatal push. That Goblin Guy is not going to be here for long.
If I'm Konkai and I have a Spreading Sea, I would absolutely Spreading Sea my opponent's first land this turn, especially how land lighted they are usually are, and they have Morgan as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that Jason here looked for a you know, just a mountain instead of looking for, let's say, like Sacred Foundry,
It usually
or something
signals that
like
he has a second land.
He's got a second land, and he's got a second colored land as well,
Yeah.
like off colored land. So maybe like keep the spreading seas for next turn. Maybe lay the breeding pool now tapped, and just kill the goblin guy next turn. Oh wow, okay. He's gonna take some damage. Wow. Spreading seas. Holy.
Oh, he's going all in on that play.
Oh, you got no lands, huh?
Did he draw off the spreading sea?
No, he has. Did he draw another one? No, he drew a fulminating mage, I think.
I mean, did he draw off the spreading sea? I didn't see the
Yeah,
action.
I think he did. Yeah, he drew a fulminating mage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's still a very strong play. It shuts out a lot of, like, for example, like Eidolon or the Great Reveal,
right?
Which is a card that's very scary for Konkai right now. Just because even if he kills it, he needs to take 2 damage.
That's true. Yeah.
And
it's like right now it's just like 2 points of that. Whoa, double Goblin Guide. So yeah, that does slow Jason down quite a bit. Like he could have been dropping a what's that? The Lavamancer, Grim Lavamancer this turn. So maybe Quan Kai takes another 4 points of damage here. He needs another land. So collective brutality.
That's a very strong play.
Yeah.
It's basically a 7-point life swing.
Jeez. Okay. So Quan Kai here going to go up to 14, and that's minimally 3 points of burn if you're really, four burn cards if you're lucky as well. And I'm thinking he's just going to take the Boros Charm here. That's the most amount of damage. Oh, okay. Scratch that. Takes the Lightning Bolt because that's castable. Jason here wants to just see a red source off the top of his deck. Doesn't though.
It's still a decent draw that he drew a Swift Spear, just meaning that he's pressuring the board presence, where Konkai need to deal with the burn in his hand, in Jason's hand, and also have to spend mana in dealing with the threat that's already on board. This is going to be a close game for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So Spreading Seas, your other land. You're not producing any rain right now, and no lands on Quan Kai's side either.
Oh.
All right. So Jason does find a red source.
The Spreading Sea plan might be like backfiring just because Jason has been able to draw his lands.
Yeah.
Now, let's say if Jason left a spike here, that's going to be a total of 7 damage, and now the fact that Konkai only stuck on 2 mana as well, which is probably why he was spreading seeding, so he can just draw out of it.
Draw a land, yeah.
But now he needs to be facing 2 threats that are easily 3 to 4 damage at 4, plus having to deal with potential burn spell off the top. It's very likely that that's another brick on top of his deck that he's not able to get the 3rd land.
So yeah, he's down to 4, and he knows that Jason here has a Grim Lavamancer in hand. He has a Boros Charm. Boros Charm and Grim Lavamancer. Quan Kai knows these 2 cards. He has to get rid of both Monastery Spear and the Goblin Guide. And unless he's got another Collective Brutality, he does have another Collective Brutality, which is pretty good. Will help to get rid of the Goblin Guide, gain him some life, and get rid of potentially a Boros Charm from his opponent's hand.
Yeah, and I think it's a Tassiger in his head. So
is maybe a Tassiger? Okay.
I don't know if I saw a Tassiger, so that potentially helped him to delve a little bit later on as well.
A little bit deeper. Okay, so.
Oh, it's interesting that he took the.
Yeah, he wants the lands. I'm pretty sure. But lightning bolt, no, lightning bolt doesn't do it. So you can only take the Boros Charm right now, leaving Jason the Grim Lava Mancer. He does have a Fatal Push, as well as a Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage would be great if Quan Kai has a land, so he does draw another land. So again, did the Boros Charm.
So right now, what Kung Kai can do is he can play a lance, fatal push the Grim Lavamancer, and then play a Goyf, which can block for a turn. And then he can see, and he just need to dodge two burn spells off the top from Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jason, like, he's only seen one Boros Charm. There's a good chance that you know, he might see another, there are 3 more in the deck. Alright, so Fatal Push there, Goyf, and pass the turn. So his outs, of course, Boros Charm, maybe a Deflecting Palm, but I don't think Quan Kai will be attacking anytime soon. Rift Bolt you. Down to 1. Can't fetch. Okay, so now Quan Kai can't fetch, but I don't think his deck has any fetch lands to speak of.
For Quan Kai, he need to attack with. He need to probably Snapcaster. There's the
Collective Brutality.
He doesn't have a 4th land, so he
right.
needs to Snapcaster the Fatal Push, kill the Goblin Guide.
Right.
I think the Goyf right now is 5 power. 5 to 6 power.
Right, so
And
he
then
gets in like 2 turns, potentially 2 turns.
Exactly, with the Snapcaster, potentially 2 turns. So he need Jason to break next turn.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think well, Quan Kai is a really good player. I believe he'll be able to see this line, and I agree with you. Like, this might be probably the best line there is.
So there's definitely land, instant sorcery, creature. So that's 4 plus Planeswalker 5.
Burn spell off the top. Yeah, burn you. Lightning bolt off the top, and there's a handshake. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so man, that was close.
That's
that
very
was
close.
insanely
Very
close.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason here takes it. Sorry, Quan Kai here takes it from. Sorry, Jason here takes the game, and I'm not quite sure how Bryce did for Team Law Firm. Maybe it'll be good. Let's see, is the other side still playing? No, they're done. They're done. And James looks like, you know, he's shaking his head. So we're done for now, but we'll be back in about 15 minutes time for more Team Unified Modern action. But in the meantime, I'll put on a replay and we'll be back. So don't go away. Remember, you can join us on the stream every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Singapore time. If you like Final Fantasy, Fridays as well, because I do that one. No, I like Final Fantasy. Like, I really like to talk about it. Yeah, but if you miss it, just go down to youtube.com/GreyOgreGames, watch all the replays. And if you want to find out more about the invitationals, just go on down to our website, GreyOgreGames.com. Remember, like, share, subscribe, do whatever you do on them social media thingies. If you like what we're doing here. Okay, we'll be back, so don't go away.